Okay, all right, well, without further ado, our keynote speaker today, I know so many of you are obsessed with her. She came to shock to stardom, really, because of The Bachelor. She now has her own blog, which is absolutely blowing up. Sparkle in her eye. Where is Lauren Bushnell? Where is she? There she is. Come on over. Yay. Welcome. Hi. You look super cute, but I think this is our cue to sit, right? This is when we sit down and do our thing. And hopefully your mic works. There you go. You want to give it a microphone check? Hello. Check. There she is. Welcome, Lauren, everyone. Welcome. Mom. Your mom's here too?
My mom's here somewhere out there.
See? That's amazing. It's Mom. Bring your mom to work day. Not really work. It doesn't feel like work. But wow, where to start with you? I think, Lauren, we have to start with you. We have to check in with you first before we get into the fashion and the blogosphere that you have now entered. Everyone wants to know how are things with you and Ben.
And everyone was like, "Where's Ben?" I'm like, I don't know if this is really his scene, but he's at home. Everything's good. We just went on our first vacation, so that was nice. I came back feeling like a new person, honestly, because we just got done filming our new show that is airing on Freeform right now. And that was great, but it was definitely work. And we needed some time just for the two of us. So we're
That must have been so rare to go, wait a minute, where the cameras aren't rolling, we're on a beach, it's just the two of us, we're still, like the stillness. How did that feel?
Well, it was great. It just felt so normal.
Yeah.
And there were times though where I'd like say something like, "Do you have a mic on me?" Like just kind of needed to get away from it. But now I really do feel refreshed. And Ben is actually on a flight right now heading down to Honduras to do some work down there with a charity that he works closely with. And I'll be meeting him down there on Wednesday. So kind of like another vacation, a little different vacation, but you talked about giving back, so that's what I'll be doing.
Well, we got to introduce you now for her foundation too.
Oh, I want to hear more about it.
But I know that you were blogging on vacation. So that brings us, and of course we'll dip back into Ben and what life is like for you now that, gosh, I mean, what a whirlwind you have been through in the last year. I mean, shot to stardom, you can't walk down the street, people want your picture. You're still on television after The Bachelor, now on a new show, but your business is your blog. And everybody knows who, if you did watch the show, you were a flight attendant, and that is no longer your business.
Correct.
Do you miss that at all?
You know, I do actually.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where there's a manual. We have our rules and we have our regulations, and you go to work and you know what to do. There's really no manual for blogging or for, you know, being on television. It's something that I'm still learning more about every day. So I do miss kind of the simplicity, I guess, and just knowing exactly what to do. But you know, we still are traveling and all that, so I'm getting my travel fix in still.
Good. So when was it you knew, okay, so you got your man, you're engaged, of course you're going to get married, and that's in the distant future, maybe near or far, not sure, and they're not telling us. But when did you know that creating a blog and being your own boss was the right fit for you?
So I graduated college and I had a job actually in LA. It was my first job. I worked at a sports agency. I thought I wanted to be a sports agent, which was not the job for me at all. But I got a job and it was a desk job, and that's totally fine. But I realized like I can't sit behind a desk all day. I want to kind of, you know, I know everyone wants to dictate their own hours and all that, but I just work really effectively on my own. And so then I went to the flight attendant thing because you kind of are your own boss in a way. Flying, traveling, meeting new people all the time. And I kind of, after The Bachelor, I had always liked fashion and style, but honestly, I was always afraid of failure, I think. I was always afraid of putting myself out there too much. And I think being a trendsetter, if you will, you have to have a lot of confidence. You can't be afraid of failure because you're gonna do things that other people don't like. And coming out of The Bachelor, putting myself out there, being on television, kind of experiencing the criticism and all that, I was no longer really afraid of failure. And so loving fashion, loving makeup and all that, I kind of found myself through The Bachelor. I know that sounds really strange. I found my fiance, but I also found kind of a new confidence, I guess. And then I really started to just fall in love all over again with fashion and with style. And my fashion and my style started to evolve a little bit because I was more confident. I was less afraid of failing, if you will. And then the blogging came about because, of course, you go on this show with a huge platform, and which I was blessed to have, and everyone was asking me, where is your skirt from, or how do you do your makeup? What's your favorite foundation and all of that? And I was like, I really need a place that I can just interact with people, women all over the world, and to have that more personal space, a little more personal than like Instagram or Twitter or any of that. So that's kind of how it all evolved.
It's funny because, and maybe I'm wrong, but there should be like a university for blogging, right? Because, when you're on your own and you're trying to figure it out, and so many of you I know in the audience are starting out, or I've met a couple girls already who said, I just launched my blog last month, or they're here to learn the how-tos. But for you, where did you gather the knowledge to know how to start?
I have followed some bloggers, and obviously like Instagram, I think, was where I was gathering a lot of my inspiration. And then I was introduced to Sarah, who you all just met, who really I didn't know a lot about the blogging world at all. I'm not very tech savvy, so the whole thing really intimidated me. And after meeting with Sarah, and then Joanna actually helped me design the blog, more of the technological part of it, because I don't know how to do that. But we worked together with the design, and Sarah is really the one who introduced me to all of the people and continues to introduce me to so many amazing people. She's kind of the amazing networking gal who I rely on very heavily. But I was afraid, honestly, because it was a totally new world for me. But once we just jumped in, I'm still learning things to this day. I feel like I've just barely dipped my feet in. There's so much I'm learning. I feel like I'm inspired every day by, you guys, honestly, because I don't call myself, I'm not a professional. I don't know all there is to know about blogging. It's really kind of been an evolution for me, and I'm still evolving with it and learning so much more. So I don't think you need to know everything there is to know, or like I said, there's no manual, there's no book that tells you how to do it. So just don't be afraid of diving in, because I literally knew nothing about it. So.
But what you do know is yourself, and I think when you start your brand, you start to create the aesthetic, or design your pages or your photos or your color palette or your graphics or whatever it is you're doing. What was important to you when you created Sparkle in Her Eye? And the name, of course, you want to know more about.
Yeah, I think it's so important to stick with who you are and follow your gut. Don't dwell on decisions too much. Just kind of go with what naturally comes first. When it comes to colors, I love really feminine colors. I love really feminine outfits. So obviously my aesthetic was light and airy, and my color is blush because I can't think of a more feminine color than the color blush. But yeah, just follow your gut, and definitely it is important to know yourself. And then like I mentioned before, I think just this evolving confidence is really what has kind of pushed me. The name, I think, it's actually one of my favorite quotes. It's a Fitzgerald quote, and he mentioned that, a woman's beauty is so much more obviously than the outside, and he is talking about a woman, and he talks about the sparkle in her eyes. So I just thought it was a nice quote. It's one of my favorite quotes, because I think obviously we all here know that beauty is so much more than what's on the outside. It's what's inside, so it's kind of cheesy, but that's actually where it came from.
No, it's so cute, and my goodness, has it caught on. Were you amazed how quickly, you blew up the internet the second you launched? I know Sarah very intimately as well, and she was like, oh my gosh, Lauren just killed the internet when she launched her blog. Were you just so, I'm sure, pleased when you were like, wait, people are coming, you build it and they will come?
Well, because I think even though I did have this platform, again, my biggest fear was failure, because if I do fail, it is on a very public platform, right? Everyone's going to know about it, and that's all they're going to be talking about. So I was really scared. I felt kind of probably even more pressure to succeed, I guess. So I was so happy. Sarah told me like the amount of views that my page got, and I looked at her and was like, "Is that good?" She was like, "Yeah," because I just didn't know. But yeah, it's just been an evolution. Like I'm still learning so much. We were filming a show, so I haven't been able to really work on it as much as I would like. But now that we're done filming, I want to dedicate every ounce of time that I have because it's really what I love. I don't necessarily want to be an actress or on TV my whole life, and I feel like vlogging is one of those things that for me, it allows me to be creative. I think a lot of actresses and actors, that's how they're creative, is through their art of acting. For me, I like to be more behind the scenes, and I love style and I love fashion, so I'm excited to really spend now all of my time focusing on sparkle in her eye.
Who were some of the people out there that you followed? Like, who were some of your inspiration, or what were blogs that you looked at, or who were social media it girls that you've loved to follow to just kind of inspire you?
Yeah, oh my gosh, so I love Amy Song, which I'm sure a lot of people here do. I love Peace Love Shay, I followed her. I love Cezanne, and I love her as a person too. She's like one of my favorite people. It's funny because I would honestly like go to my Instagram, like the popular page, and I follow a lot of fashion brands, and I would just like scroll. I'm sure all of you guys do that too, and that's how I would shop. Like I never shopped in stores. I would just shop online, and I think it's so cool that now, like, that's kind of where everything's going. I feel like a lot of people don't really shop at like department stores. It's all online. So like this industry, it really is kind of, I think, like the future. So I think it's so cool to see all of you guys sitting here who are so inspired and ready to kind of take that head on, or are already doing so. Because for me, like, I just see it even blowing up more than it already is. So.
Changes so quickly, and I can tell you, just even from doing this conference for the last 5 or 6 years, when I first started hosting this conference, I didn't even have a blog, and a lot of people didn't. And things change so quickly. The landscape changes every year, every season. It's just like moving so quickly. The learning curve for you, what has that been like? Like when you did launch, or when you were building the site, and I know you have Sarah, and you have, obviously, you've surrounded yourself with some good people, but what were the biggest challenges in getting launched and then in staying afloat? Because you brought up a good point. It's like one thing to have everybody come, but if you want them to stay, then you have to really produce a quality site.
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest challenge for me is, like I mentioned before, I would not call myself tech savvy whatsoever. So I've had to really learn a lot about how to use WordPress and how to, even with social media, like I wasn't really that familiar with a lot of social media before The Bachelor, and then coming out, I have this big platform, and I have no idea how to use it. So I really had to teach myself how to be better about that and direct people to the blog. But the learning curve, gosh, I feel like I'm still like down here, and I'm just still learning so much. There's so much to learn, but that's, for me, what inspires me, is because I like a challenge. I like not knowing it all. I like constantly having to learn more. I think for me, I really want to start learning, diving more into YouTube. I love makeup. I love makeup, so, and skincare, so I really want to start doing that. But even that intimidates me because I don't know how to use YouTube. But it's like any of this stuff, I feel like we can all teach ourselves. Everyone in here is clearly very motivated and bright. And so my learning curve is, I'm still learning a lot.
I love that you admit that, you know, she's just like you guys, you know, it's like we're all learning as we go. And that's very much a part of the process, really. Did any of the gals on The Bachelor help you with your blog? Because I know there were bloggers on the show. Any of your friends that were already blogging, did they help you with any input and chime in?
Not necessarily, but I think I might have been inspired, I guess. So not necessarily helping me with the blog, but on the show, a lot of us girls, in fact, Kayla is here somewhere. Sorry to call you out, Kayla. But we become like very close with one another because you're away from your family, you're away from your friends, and you're going through this experience that's extremely hard and emotionally taxing. And I think for me that a lot of those women there that I got to know inspired me in many different ways. But from a fashion standpoint, I did not pack for 2 months of filming because in my mind I was like, no way am I going to go on the show and fall in love. Like I'm not going to, like to me it just didn't seem realistic. I was excited about the opportunity, excited about meeting Ben, but I didn't think it would happen. So I didn't pack enough. So for me, Amanda, her and I were about the same size, and she has the cutest style, and she is very creative with her style, and so she lent me a lot of clothes. She would help me pick out outfits. So I think she kind of inspired me without, I don't even know if I knew it at the time, but she's the one who really was like, wear this. I know you're not used to wearing something like this, a little outside of your comfort zone, but wear it. So she kind of like gave me that initial confidence that I needed, and then inspired me to move forward and really kind of evolve into what is my own style, if that makes sense. Yeah, there are quite a few gals on The Bachelor who've started blogs, which I think is really great because, I mean, talk about a group of really great women who are all inspiring and confident, and I mean, it's pretty tough to put yourself out there on national TV and open yourself up to all the criticism and all that. So very inspiring women on the show.
You just answered a good question because I admittedly, I didn't see every episode or anything on news. I have to watch every show, but just little bits. You know, I can't watch any show all the time, but my friends who do and never missed an episode, they were like, ask Lauren. They have so many outfit changes and they're always in so many different cute clothes. How they couldn't possibly have packed all those clothes. They must have a stylist, but not at all the case, right?
No, no stylist. So The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, or the lead, as they call them, they have a stylist, which is awesome because they change a lot more than even we did as cast members. Is that what we're called? I don't know, cast members. And but no stylist. They tell you to pack for possibly 2 months, which is the duration of filming, but you don't know if you're going to go all night one or stay for 2 months. And you have to fit it in 2 suitcases. So you're packing all these dresses, and then they don't tell you where you're traveling to. So they're like, pack for any climate. So I'm like, I have to pack literally summer, winter, gowns in 2 suitcases. So I just kind of gave up halfway through packing. I was like, well, I guess if I need anything, I'll figure out how to get it. Or maybe the girls will let me borrow, which is what ended up happening.
Wow. So that's cool they let you borrow.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Good girls. Good girls. Throughout your blogging experience, now that you're official and your social media is ramping up and your real business is ramping up, how has been in the process? Because you know the what are they called, photographers, the boyfriends who take the pictures, and you know so many of the most successful bloggers in the biz. It's because their other half is behind the lens and they're taking the picture because that's the person you're with the most. So you guys know this. My husband, like, he has been trained. I'm like, do not complain. The quicker we get this over with, the better. The more you complain, the longer we're at it. So let's just knock it out, you know? You've gotta, so sometimes that's so important. How is he with like, babe, I need a selfie, you know, whatever, not a selfie, you don't need him for a selfie, but how is he in the process?
He's on his own learning curve too. We tried to do a little photography session in the backyard and it didn't go as planned. He assured me, he's like, no, I took photography in high school. Like, I'm good, trust me. And I was like, okay, let me give it a try. And it didn't really work out. But he's learning, but he could probably use a class or two, as could I. So maybe that'll be our next thing we do as a couple, is like a photography class.
Is he patient though? Because that's the other thing is like, you know, when your phone is in your hand and you're shooting your meal before you eat it, or you gotta get the shoes, or you're, you know, all along the day through the experiences. Is so far so good?
He's very patient. Very patient with me, yes.
He's good.
Yeah,
He's a good man. He's a good man.
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot of things to do when you start your business. But have you learned anything what you shouldn't do? Because I know so many people here today are just in the early stages of their careers and building their brand and their business. Any advice on, you know, the no-nos what not to do?
Oh gosh. I mean, realistically, you're gonna probably make a few mistakes. I would say don't be afraid of not doing everything perfect, because I feel like in your failures, I guess, that's kind of where I've learned the most. Maybe don't doubt yourself, I guess. I feel like anytime I've doubted myself or taken, other people's opinions too much and kind of forgotten my own voice, my own opinion, I think that's when I feel as though I feel less ownership. I feel like it's not mine. I don't feel as great about what I've done. So just don't doubt yourself and don't be afraid of making those mistakes, because you're probably going to, or at least I did. But that's kind of where I learned the most. And then also I wasn't as afraid to take further risks, because it's like, oh, I've already screwed up once, like, whatever.
Yeah, but you seem like, obviously, to go on national television, to put yourself out there in front of the world, to get to that point, you have to be pretty grounded and very driven and know what you want out of life. So what are some of the virtues that have really served you that might inspire some other girls out here today as they move forward on their path?
Yeah, I mean, I have an amazing family, and that's helped so much, because throughout this whole process, all the criticisms, the stardom, I guess if you want to call it, that happens overnight, that was not something I was prepared for or sought after, and was kind of hard and strange at times. That's who I leaned on the most. So I have an amazing family. I am pretty confident. I would say I try to be, as genuine to yourself as you can, and also like be nice to other people. That's just my biggest thing. And I think being in this industry and learning, like there's so many people out there who just want to bring other people around them down. And so for me, I've taken this role very seriously. When you do have a following, you do have people looking to you, and I think that's something to not take lightly. I think to be a good example and to live life as though you have a lot of eyes on you, because you probably will or already do. And I think that's something that's really important, especially when it comes to young girls who are looking at all of us and thinking, oh, I want to be like them. I mean, for me, just want to be a really good example for them and inspire them in ways. So there's a lot of bad examples out there, so I just want to be a good example by being truthful and being kind to other people, and being honest and all of that. So.
How do you handle, fame is a disease, it can be. I cover it every single day, and I hear so many atrocious stories and how people come up and they come down, and then it's tough, because that's how the world operates too. The audience, one day they love you, the next minute, we're tearing people down, and there's the trolls and there's the haters, especially on social. It's so toxic, can be super toxic. I'm sure you've experienced a little of that, certainly not deserving, but no matter what, if you're in the limelight, you get it. How do you deal with that?
At first I didn't handle it very well. It sounds so weird that I went on a television show, but I am a little bit more of a private person. I'm not used to putting myself out there, or I kind of like to be a fly on the wall in a lot of situations, and that's definitely not what I was coming out of The Bachelor. And then, yeah, you have a lot of the criticism, which I took very personally at first. But, I think my family played a big role in helping me through that. I have a great support system, which is why I think it's so important to surround yourself with really positive people who are going to encourage you and lift you up, because there's going to be times where you're struggling. And for me, those are the people that I relied on the most. But it's hard. Ben helped a lot. He had kind of been through it once before, so he knew what to expect, he knew what it was like, and he was so patient and so kind and loving towards me throughout that time. But again, I think for me, as hard as it was at some points, it's only made me stronger, because all of the mean things that people say, there's 100 positive comments. And so I just try, and not that I always succeed, but I try to just focus on that and just take those people who maybe say not so nice things and just that to me is a reminder of all the more reason why I want to be the opposite of that in this world. I want to be a light. I want to be kind to other women. I want to lift other women up and men, and also give back to those who maybe are less fortunate. For me, it kind of like inspires me to try to be a better person. And yeah, but I think for me, the support system has been by far, and it's kept me grounded in the way, during this whole thing, because fame can, consume you. And I would say that the one thing that I'm proud of myself for not letting happen is letting that consume me, and I'm not always chasing after, the next thing or fame. And I think part of that's because of those people around me who, if I ever become a diva, they'd be the first to be like, Lauren, no, who are you? No. So
bring it back down.
Bring it back
Feet
down.
on the ground. Your blog, let's say 3 years from now, where do you see it? What are your kind of longer term goals with your business?
I love the idea. I'm pretty ambitious. I would love to have a whole brand. So whether it's doing my own makeup line, again, like I said, I love skincare, I love makeup. I hope to dive deep into YouTube and start doing tutorials. I really want to start doing more collaborations, because I feel like two minds are always better than one, and I've met so many amazing other bloggers and inspirational men and women who I'd love to work with. And it's so cool. I think blogging is the most amazing thing because it can follow you through all stages of life. So I don't know, everyone always asks Ben and I, when are you getting married? And then the second question is like, oh, are you guys gonna have kids? I'm like, wait, we're not even married. But it's cool because like hopefully as we do progress with our life and get married and life changes, maybe kids do come into the picture. Like, I think it's so cool to then have your blog kind of revolve around where you're at in your life at that moment. So it could, 5 years from now, it could be blogging about kids' clothes or children. I mean, I don't know. I guess I just kind of am taking it day by day. But that's why it's so exciting for me, is because I don't know what 5 years is going to look like or 10 years. But I have a feeling that I can use my blog as my creative outlet to talk about whatever it is going on in my life at that moment.
Well, you guys get to ask Lauren some questions, so have them ready, get them ready, because I'm just going to ask you one more question, and then we'll take some questions from you guys. But just Denver life. How's Denver? You were a California girl, and then, now I know Ben went to IU. Did you know that, Mom? Yes, he did. She went to IU too. But now you guys are in Colorado. I mean, I feel like you have so many everything's new for you. And that has to be kind of a bit of a transition. So how's that going?
Huge transition time in my life. The last year has been crazy. I'm a Denver resident, which is really cool. I grew up in the Northwest in Portland, so it's not too far off from, my hometown where I grew up, but I'm still, I'm in a new house, I'm in a new city. I'm literally driving a new car. I'm doing a new job. I mean, everything in my life has changed, and I really liked my life a year ago. It's not like I wanted it to, but it's great in its own way now, and just still adjusting though, for sure, meeting new people. But it's so nice to have Ben in my life and to have him. He's seriously the most supportive person. I always tell people he's my biggest fan in the whole world. He's like the person who just always pushes me to do something, and is like, if it doesn't work out, like, I'm here, like, we're good. I still love you. So it's been really great to have him. But and I like Denver. If anyone has the chance to visit Denver, it's such a cool city. The fashion in Denver is okay. Like the shopping's okay. There's the Nordstrom.
Good thing you do it online then,
I
right?
do a lot of online shopping, but it's up and coming. Like Denver, there's a lot of people moving there. There's a lot of new smaller boutiques opening. I feel like people are starting to get into fashion a little more there, so it's actually kind of cool to see it evolve. I'm sure in the next 5 years it's going to be completely different, which I think is kind of fun, keeps things exciting.
Very, very cool. All right, ladies, gentlemen, who has questions for Lauren? Anybody who wants to go first? Yeah.
Okay, raise your hand. Oh, we got one in the middle. very quiet. Warming up. Light is very bright.
Hi, I'm Andrea. My question is, would you have started a blog even if you weren't on The Bachelor?
That's a really good question. I don't know, and it's not because, I mean, coming out of The Bachelor, I had a huge audience, right? Automatically. I didn't have to work for that, if you will, which is huge, and I'm very thankful for that. But I think going on The Bachelor and experiencing criticism like I did, experiencing kind things said like I did, putting myself out there in the most public of ways, it gave me the confidence that I needed to really dive into my own personal style and not be afraid of taking risks, not just with fashion, but with doing things like starting a blog. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. I was so afraid of deviating from, oh, I had this great job. I was a flight attendant. It was safe. It was a long-term job that I knew I would have forever. And I don't know if I ever would have dove into doing a blog if I hadn't kind of had that little push that I needed to step outside my comfort zone.
So, on that same note, how would you encourage some of us in this room who maybe are, working a 9 to 5 and kind of blogging maybe as a hobby, but want to really take it to the next level?
That's a good question. I would say, you need your 9 to 5. You need that job. Like, everyone needs to support themselves. You need to put food on the table and all of that. And I think it's really admirable that so many people, you have so many moms who have, kids, young kids, and people with full-time jobs. And blogging is a ton of work, and I didn't even realize it before jumping into it. I knew it was going to be work and I was ready, but I did not know it was going to be as time-consuming and as much work as it is. So I applaud all of you because it is huge. And with filming our show, the hours were so long, and there were so many days where I didn't feel like working on the blog. I was so tired, and my mind, it just wasn't there. So I would say if you're exhausted on a day, if your mind's going blank, take a break. Take that day off. But if you're feeling really inspired, go sit in a coffee shop and work on it all day. I mean, I think it's just keep going and take those risks. So I'm not saying quit your job, because don't do that yet. But take risks and do things like this, like network, honestly. I feel like so much of my inspiration and my success thus far has just been thanks to people like Sarah, meeting the right people, the people that really have helped me take it to that next level. So do things like this, meet people, work together, collab, because again, I truly believe two minds are better than one.
How do you plan your editorial calendar, and what are some of the productivity tips that you can share with us?
Okay, I need someone here to do that for me because I am not a planner. Gosh, I feel like we mentioned all the changes that I've experienced in my life. I sometimes feel like my head is spinning and my life is moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I need someone who's going to help me plan, because right now I'm not the best planner. Usually I don't know if this is going to answer your question, so tell me if this doesn't, but usually when I'm feeling really creative and refreshed and I have all these ideas, I'll go sit in a coffee shop and I'll just do a ton of posts. When I do shoot with a photographer in LA or in Denver, I shoot, 15 different things in one day. We just knock it out. And then I have everything compiled. And once I kind of, on those days that I'm feeling very creative and I'm writing and I'm putting things together, that's when I plan, because that's when I work the best and I'm feeling the most creative. But there are some days where I'm just so tired and my mind is just totally spent that if you were to ask me to try to put together a calendar, there's no way. So I try to do it ahead of time as much as I can. Again, I haven't been very good at it because we've had so many other things going on. But I think that's what's really cool about a blog is, if you do have your job that supports you and you're doing this on the side or it's up and coming, like on those days that you're really, you're just spent, you don't have the energy, you're not feeling creative, like don't force it. Like don't push yourself into doing something because it's probably not going to be your best work. So when I do feel creative, I'm feeling inspired, I go and I sit for hours and hours and hours and I plan and I just knock it out on one of those days. But again, lately that hasn't been happening that much. So I'm excited though. I'm excited to dive in and really start really putting all of my energy into my blog because that's really what I love the most. So.
More questions? Someone just grabbed
I have a question. So it's a very crowded space, and I was just wondering what your strategy is to stand out. Like, if you can just share your top two, maybe.
Yeah, I think that was my biggest fear when it came to starting a blog is I'm not super trendy or fashion forward. I feel like I like gray and black and white and, like very neutral colors. So I was like, well, no one wants to follow like how I dress or whatever. But then I have so many people who were asking me like, what are you wearing? Where'd you get that? I think for me, it's really just sticking to who you are. Like if you are really, you're like, okay, there's a reason that I'm starting a blog, I feel confident in this, don't try to be someone else. Like stick to who you are, stick to your style. I know it's, for me, it's so easy to mistake inspiration for trying to then be that or saying, oh wait, maybe I need to be more like that. Don't do that. Like stick to who you are, stick to your own style. Because for me, I thought I was gonna be like too boring. Like I don't, I like simple, like clean lines, structured pieces, neutral colors. It's like, why would people wanna follow that? But don't. Just stick to that. Be true to yourself, and I don't know. I think it's really cool to be able to like be open. Like for me, on The Bachelor, I don't know if everyone got to know who I was as a person because there's 25 other women. So for me, on the blog, I really want to try to like use my own voice and be. For me, it's a really intimate space. So be open. Like talk about things that maybe you wouldn't be comfortable talking about on Instagram. Like it's a more intimate way to be able to be more open. Talk about more personal things too. For me, I'm excited to start doing that and sharing with people, kind of some of the stories we've talked about today. I think a blog is also a great place, even if it's just a fashion blog, but I think people like to get to know who you are as a person because someone's going to relate to that.
As we're moving the mic, you're going to be on Insta Story for 2 seconds. Ready? Insta Story. Hi, Lauren. Hey, everybody. Say hello, Simply Stylist.
Woo woo.
Sorry. Oh, are we done with questions? No more? You have one.
It was kind of going off for edit for his calendar. I was just wondering how often you post. Because I'm a mom, so I'm like trying to balance the things. So I'm like, how often do you need to post it to keep the momentum going? Like, how often do you?
So my goal, now that we're done with our crazy filming schedule, I want to try to post once a week. That's my goal for myself. So I would say set a goal that's realistic because you are a mom. Don't overwhelm yourself because then you're not going to enjoy it. And it's something that you enjoy, so don't take that away. So for me, it's once a week. For you, I mean, obviously it's different depending on if you're building an audience or sustaining one, and that's tough. I don't know if I'm the best person to answer that, because again, I'm still pretty new at this. But for me, I try to do once a week because we do travel a lot and we still have a lot going on. And even that to me, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, am I gonna be able to do that? But again, on those days that I do have a lot of time, I just try to like do 3 or 4 posts. So that way, if I wanna do 2 a week, I kind of have a stockpile of posts. But I mean, hats off to you. I don't know, like Sarah has her 1-year-old. I'm like, girl, I don't know how you do it. Like, it's crazy, but good for you.
Okay, how are we on time? We're out of time. We're out of time. that was amazing. Is there anything else you want to share before you go, or projects you're working on, or anything else you want to leave the people with?
I mean, if anyone does YouTube, come find me, because I need all the tips that I can get, and everyone's so good at their makeup in here, so I have a feeling some of you are makeup people. That's really my next project, and what I really want to focus on is tutorials and diving into that. But again, I don't know what I'm doing, so it might be a complete disaster. I don't know.
And I know how humble you are. No, it's a good quality, very, very good quality. And there's a lot more to come for you guys throughout the day. So that's my cue to remind you that as the other panels come up here and whatnot, tweet us, because I'll read some of your questions also. And the hashtag is Simply Stylist NY. And the handle is Simply on Twitter, right, Sarah? Dang it, it's Simply Stylist XO. I'm getting confused. That's Instagram only. But hashtag Simply Stylist NY and at Simply Stylist XO. So keep all those questions coming as you sit here throughout the day and you have questions or you have thoughts and you're getting inspired, and we'll share them with you as the day goes on. But that was amazing. Thank you so much. Congratulations on everything.
Hey guys, thanks for watching, and so glad that you're here. You could just take a moment and subscribe to our channel. You can do it by clicking here, over here, over here, or wherever that subscribe button is. Just click it. You'll get everything directly sent to you, first to know of all things Simply Stylist. Thank you so much, and if you don't, this dog is coming after you.